Okay, I'll count you guys in then. Okay, go in 5, 4, 3.
Hi everyone, welcome to Hugh Spotlight. We have a brand new show and a dear friend, and I really do say that honestly, Jerry Sereda. And Jerry, I mean, I've known you for so many years, and I just want to say that I am so happy that you are still making music, you know, like, and you're doing it so well. And I say that from a really fond spot, because a lot of artists just kind of disappear. And you've always been, I think, true to yourself and true to the songs that you want to do. Country, but yes, storytelling.
Yeah.
I think it's storytelling, and I really want to, like, you know, talk now when you get to your roots, to the indigenous and the Metis roots, and with your teacher background, now being able to tell stories, and you know what? And it's not only about the indigenous culture, it's about human culture. Don't you think? Like, that's what I feel.
It is
from
about
you.
human culture, and I still do a lot of work with in a lot of educational spaces and with a lot of groups of people across Canada, really driving home that idea of truth and reconciliation, how very important that is, and why it's you know, you sometimes get people talking and they say, well, you know, I wasn't here when the colonization happened. It's not my kind of problem. Well, it is, because we're all living here, we're all occupying the same space. And to me, truth and reconciliation is two things. It's the truth that people need to know first. And when they know the truth and they get to do something that's immersive, and they get to feel like a simulation, like the blanket exercise, or something where people can experience what it feels like to have your identity stolen from you, then you start to realize how very important it is that we bring that back together, and we work on building those relationships back up. That's so super important, and that'll always be a part of the work that I do. I just lucky enough that, you know, I still love writing songs and performing in front of people, and I got a great team behind me. So as long as they continue to work with me, and as long as we got stories to tell, I'll keep standing up there in front of people and doing the old troubadour thing. And once in a while with a band, that's a little crazier there.
No, the band is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so music for you, Jerry, though, you know, it is a passion, but beyond that, though, it's something more for you.
You know, my music is healing. Music has always been healing for me. It's healing for people all across the world, in different cultures and genres of music. My family instilled that in me when I was very, very young. And, you know, when you've just had a bad day, nothing like picking up the guitar, writing a song to get that out of you, or picking up a guitar and playing the hits that you've loved since you were a child, right? Because it all brings back memories. Each song that I enjoy listening to has that. I can remember where I heard it. I can remember why it was important to me, and that's part of the storytelling aspect too. Because people will ask me when I'm on stage, and, you know, I pick up the acoustic guitar, play a couple of mine, then all of a sudden here's a George Jones, or, you know, here's Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, but there's a story behind why I choose to do those songs on a stage, because at some time in my life, those songs were important to, you know, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my brothers. You know, it might bring back a smile of some goofy stuff we did when we were teenagers, messing around in the countryside around a bonfire, jamming these tunes, right? So
Yes, yeah.
music is life, and I feel Winnipeg's such a great place to be, because we have so many diverse musicians, and when people tour, you know, whether they're going east, west, north, south, they all come through Winnipeg at one point in time, and they add to that heartbeat that I think is the Winnipeg music scene. They build it up. Everybody knows you want diversity and some amazing musicianship. They all come to Winnipeg.
Oh, well, yes, and we both know that. Okay, so your fifth album.
Fifth album.
Going into recording your fifth album, what does your music sound like? Or I am just kind of curious, like, or do you just keep on the same stream?
No, it's evolved for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I started out, I was a lot younger, and I was in the country music scene. So for me, it was about cold beer and, you know, cheap whiskey and
And women.
dive bars and women, yeah. But over the years, I've grown. My maturity's inched up a little bit, just like an inchworm, you know. But truthfully, yeah, I was fortunate enough after, you know, recording my first 2.5 albums here in Winnipeg, I sought out something different. I was looking for a different sound, a different vibe. Mm-hmm. So I connected first with Gord Bamford, and we talked about doing an album together. Yeah.
Wow.
So we got together, and with an album in mind, we headed down to Nashville, and we wrote a whole bunch of songs. But Gord's a busy guy. Not an easy guy to line up his timeline with mine. So I was like, I need to get moving on this right now. So I reached out to another friend of mine, Tracy Koga, who I'd known through Shane Yellowbird, another mutual friend of ours. So I reached out to him and I said, Troy, I would like to try something new. Do you know any producers out west that I could work with? And he just said very humbly, well, you know, I've been thinking about getting into, because he'd recorded demos for himself and his wife, both award-winning songwriters. So I said, yeah, let's work together. Let's try something, see what happens. And we did we finished off the half, remember, 2.5? So we finished off the half and put it together as our third. And we vibed so well together that we started writing together. And we said, let's just try different stuff too. Mm-hmm. Let's infuse some kind of funky sounds into our music. Let's infuse some pop. Let's infuse some roots. And let's just make music that we're both proud of, that makes us smile and that we believe in. And as long as we're doing that and having fun, we won't stop. So we rolled through album 4, which is now up for an award tomorrow. Yeah. So fingers crossed for that one. But and now album 5 is ready to go. A brand new single's out. It's called Lighthouse. That was it's released. People can check it out on streaming media. The music video's coming, and that was one of those songs for me writing Lighthouse, because kind of the format that Troy and I got together to do the writing was, at first we decided we would Zoom once a week.
Oh, okay.
So after about 6 weeks of doing that once a week, we had written almost a full song. So it wasn't going quite the way we wanted.
Right.
So Troy said, okay, I need you to come to Calgary. So I went to Calgary. He put me up in his house, and he invited over a lot of his songwriting friends. And we'd wake up, have breakfast together. I would go write with a group of people. We'd have lunch together, write with a different group of people. And then we'd settle down for supper and relax. And over the course of 3 or 4 days, we had, 8 or 9 songs.
Wow.
Completed. And we're like, hey, this works better. So we did that, I think, 2 or 3 more times. And we got all the stuff that we needed for this album. Very proud of it.
Crazy.
Very proud of the stories that go behind it. Lighthouse is a very, very emotional song for me. Probably one of the most emotional ones I've released, just because it's about those times in life when you're out on rough waters, you have no sense of direction, you feel lost, you feel like that's it. The end of the day is your days are numbered. But those people, whether they're our partners, our parents, our friends, they're that beacon of light, that beacon of hope that's reaching out and telling you, come this way. This is the direction. We'll get you back on land. We'll get you off those choppy waters and help you. And that's where I go back to the music is healing. And this is my way of telling people that, Lighthouse is about those people. Don't ever forget them, because it's, I think the pandemic taught us all something in terms of not being able to go and sit down with your family or your friends, the ones we care about the most. And that rocked me to the point where I will never now turn down an opportunity. If somebody phones me up, I might be running on zero sleep for the last 56 hours, but if it's a friend or my parents or my siblings, and they say, hey, why don't you come over? I'll be right there.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's so important to say yes to those opportunities.
Well, and it's just like, you never know, right? What life's going to deal.
You never know what life's going to give you, and I don't ever want to think, oh man, I should have spent more time with that person, or I didn't let that person know how much I cared about them when they were here.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to let you set up Lighthouse, which you will get to see after a beautiful interview with Sade. She's an R&B artist in Toronto, but Lighthouse first.
Here's Lighthouse.
Well, the story behind it.
Oh, the story behind Lighthouse. We were sitting down. Oftentimes, I love to work out first thing in the morning. It clears my head. It's my time. We're usually up and moving around at about 4:30 when nobody can disturb me. So, I'm focused on my workout, and I do have country tunes pumping. Some people say you can't work out to it, but to me, it's not about that. I grew up, when I used to go to gym class, it was always about Thunderstruck by AC/DC or something that is rocking the floors, right? But I do enjoy country music, and I like the stories. So sometimes things will come to me because I'm focused on the workout. I'm not always dialing into the lyrics or the melody, but I'm dialing into the feeling. And something will come to me. And for Lighthouse, that's what came to me. Is I was sitting there, and I don't remember what I was listening to, but I remember just thinking about my family and everything that we had just went through, and how people couldn't talk to each other, and it just, the world was in chaos, and those people that meant so much to me, I missed so much. That and all the things that they've done to steer me right, and during the pandemic when I had nobody else to kind of sit down with and be able to talk to in person, because I always feel that's something too. The live shows, when you're on stage with a crowd, they bring an energy to it, we bring an energy to it, and that's a shared experience that will only ever be created once. And people have to realize that. You can put on the same show 100 times across North America. Each one is going to be different. Each one is going to have its memorable moments. And thinking about those people and how much they meant to me, and how they've guided me when I felt lost, how they have supported me when I didn't know if I was going to land back on my feet. Through all those times, they were that beacon of light. And to me, because my grandparents grew up as commercial fishermen on Lake Winnipeg, those lighthouses were so important to bring people home and to keep people safe. And to me, that's what those supports around us are. They're those lighthouses that will always be there when we don't know what's happening or where to go. So I wrote it about those people, and my grandparents were a big part of that. They fished out on a place called Matheson Island, and I remember being a kid and getting to see the lighthouse, which was just across from Matheson Island on an island called Black Bear. So they ended up taking that lighthouse down. They actually tore down a bunch of lighthouses on Lake Winnipeg and just burnt them. But this one, they actually transported to Selkirk, the place where I was born, which is almost symbolic in itself. And that lighthouse still sits there. So I was born in Selkirk, that lighthouse sits there, and that's where my grandparents retired. That's where they lived and until they passed on. So there's a lot of symbolic purpose behind Lighthouse and how powerful that is.
Wow. And what a great opportunity that you're able to write and create a song and sing it. And we can hardly wait. So you will see Lighthouse, but right now we're going to go to an interview with the talented Sade in Toronto, an R&B artist. Hello, Sade. Welcome to Hue Spotlight. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. And go, girl, you are much more than music. I want to talk about the fashion. I want to talk about producing, and of course the new video. But so let's start with the music, though, Sade. I mean, I guess music is a passion, but also to your culture and traditions too, as well, to mix that in.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Like music is it's a huge part of my life. I always used to say that music runs through my veins, and it's been in my family forever. And it's just a way of my life. I guess that's the best way that I can explain it. It's just a part of who I am.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk too now about women in music, and especially women of color. For yourself, how has the journey been? And I know that there's obviously there is adversity out there, but now we're champions, right, of supporting each other. Have you found that support along the way?
I have in little pockets. Definitely, there've been a lot of challenges being an artist of color, being a female artist in addition to that. And I find that a lot of times, along the way, I've come across people who automatically second guess me, or people who maybe if they don't understand my sound, for them it's easier to, for lack of a better word, reject my sound or feel like, oh, like I don't understand this, it's so exotic or whatever else, because they're not exposed to this vast array of music or cultural influences. And so in the beginning, I used to feel like, wow, like, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I doing something wrong here? And then over time, I started to realize that, oh, this actually has nothing to do with me. This is purely to do with, their lack of awareness, or ignorance or whatever else. So slowly I've started to lean towards the people who can appreciate my sound and my music and who I am as a woman and all of that. Yeah.
And that, in a sense, too, must be so empowering for you. And I guess for the younger girls coming up and seeing you as a role model, and we say about it all the time, but you are a role model for a lot of young girls. The situations that you find yourself in sometimes, how did you deal with them? How did you get out of it gracefully? And obviously, like you just said, stay true to your own sound, your Sade sound.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have to say that a huge part of that has been my support system. I would say that I was lucky to have a father who really wanted to champion his girls. My dad was a huge advocate for women, and he allowed, I saw that in the way he treated my mother and in the way that he pushed her to be everything that she wanted to be with no limits. And I saw that in the way that he pushed me to be excellent in anything that I wanted to do. And he was always just like, go for it, go for it, go for it. And I would definitely say that that influenced me. My teachers definitely influenced me as well. I would say I was surrounded by a lot of people who saw the potential in me, and rather than placing limitations on what I could be, they rather challenged me to shoot for the stars. And so with that mindset, I feel like I know that I know that not every young girl out there has that similar experience. And so I've personally taken it upon myself to always look out for younger girls and just be there for them in any way that I can, whether it's being a mentor, whether it's, giving them whatever advice that they might need. I've found especially last year, I know we haven't quite gotten into the season of shows this year, but I remember there were a bunch of shows last year. At the end of the show, these little girls will come up to me and be like, "Oh, I love your outfit. Oh, like where did you get this from?" And like, "Oh, when did you start singing?" And like, "Oh, I'm trying to put together like my own band in my high school," or like all these other things. And I'm just like, "Oh my God, come here." And I just always, anytime that happens, it makes me feel so happy that one, they can see me as a point of reference for something that they too can achieve and be. And I'm always just open to giving them advice and supporting them along their journey, because I know that it's not easy. And yeah, community, I would say, has been the biggest part of championing me, really. Yeah.
Oh, well, that is so beautiful. Okay, so that's a great segue into, oh, where did you get that? I love your outfit. Fashion, because fashion is very important, especially
Yes.
for females in the music
Yes.
industry. I don't know why
Absolutely.
males can get away with wearing ripped shirts and
I
whatever,
know.
but we have to have the full ensemble or poo-poo.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. The pressure.
Yes.
Sometimes it's funny. It's like when I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, oh, the pressure is too much. But then at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I look pretty bad today. I like this. I'm feeling myself.
But you won a fashion award. Am I correct in saying that too as well?
I won a Female Artist of the Year at a Fashion and Arts Movement award. Yes, so it's sort of it's a fashion show that highlights different artists from the African diaspora or diaspora of color, and so they give different award categories to artists, to designers, photographers, and so on and so forth. So yes, I won the Female Artist of the Year in 2020. Yeah.
So obviously, your ensemble was impeccable. No. Let's
Thank
get
you.
to the new music, though. Your new single, Intuition, is
Yes,
incredible.
thank you.
R&B, but there's so much more. So if you had to describe your sound, Sade, to
Hmm.
somebody new, how would
Hmm.
you describe yourself?
I would say it's a blend of Afro soul and R&B. Think Fela Kuti, like a soulful Fela Kuti meets Lauryn Hill, and a little bit of Erykah Badu, all mumbled jumbled together, um, because it combines elements of soul, it combines elements of Afrobeats, it combines elements of jazz and R&B, and it's all meshed into this. So I usually say I'm an Afro soul and R&B artist.
Oh, beautiful. And what is in store for 2023 for you?
Well, for one, as people follow me, they will find out, but also lots of music, lots of collaborations. We've been working very hard on the EP, working very hard to put that out to everyone. Um, and yeah, lots of performances, lots of festivals, music weeks, some short film festivals as well that are coming up really soon. Like Intuition's going to be shown at the Toronto Short Film Festival next Sunday. So I'm really excited about that. And some other surprise short film festivals that I have been told to keep a secret until it's officially announced. But one of them might be an Oscar qualifying film festival, which is insane to be a part of such a festival. But
Yes.
I have been told to keep that silent until it's been officially announced.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah.
Well, okay, our lips are sealed, but if you do go, let us know, or at least, tell us what you're
Absolutely.
going to wear. But
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. At least I have my outfit figured out for Sunday for the Toronto Short Film Festival. I'm pretty excited
good.
about that one.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, we can hardly
Yeah.
wait till you can go on tour for the rest of Canada to see you. And thank you so much for spending some time with us, Sade. I'm going to let you,
Thank
though,
you.
introduce your new video, though, that we are going to premiere right
Ooh,
on Hue Spotlight.
so exciting.
Okay, so take it away. You can introduce your new video. Go ahead.
This is my new video called Intuition.
If only you knew. I wake up to the thought of seeing you. Bright eyes, cherry smile. I need your touch, like fresh water on leaves from the morning dew. If only you knew. My intuition telling me maybe this is meant to be. 'Cause every time I feel this strong pull, like this is something I could handle. But all the questions in my mind, asking is this the right time? My whirlwind of imaginations, mixed with my infatuations of ya. If I press in, if I lean into it, if I hold fast, will I experience all of the places I've never been before? Fast-paced and never-changing carousel. My mind is ever rolling, and with you I'm ever flowing. I don't wanna lose this feeling, I don't. So I keep holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. It might be just what I need. Oh yeah. I'm so indecisive, just scared I can't deny it. You might be what I've been searching for. I try but I can hide it. Maybe this is what we're living for, making memories we can't ignore. Oh, a part of me wants to explore a love that lasts more and more. If I press in, if I lean into it, if I hold fast, will I experience all of the places I've never been before? Fast-paced and ever-changing carousel. My mind is ever rolling, and with you I'm ever flowing. I don't wanna lose this feeling, no, no. So I holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Holding fast to the truth. It might be just what I need. Just what I need. If I hold on to the truth, you might be just what I need. You might be just what I need. Nowhere else for me to go. In your arms I feel. Even if I run away, just know, darling, in your arms I feel. I If only you knew my intuition, it draws me to you.
My name is Jerry Sereda, and this is Lighthouse. I've done things that I ain't proud of, stubbornness and fear, and into walls I built myself and caused my share of tears. I've been lost out on the ocean, fighting hard to find the truth. She's the thing that's given me a place to come back to. She guides me home when I'm drifting. She gives me hope when I'm sinking. The sky goes dark in this wild heart, without a single star to be found. She's my lighthouse, like a beacon that girl calls me when I get too far from the shore. She's got faith enough in both of us when I'm caught out in the storm. She's direction, she's a compass when I get in my own way. She reaches out even when fighting through the waves. She guides me home when I'm drifting. She gives me hope when I'm sinking. The sky goes dark in this wild heart, without a single star to be found. She's my lighthouse. God knows she must see something in the man I want to be. 'Cause through my roughest waters, she's been waiting there for me. She guides me home when I'm drifting. She gives me hope when I'm sinking. The sky goes dark in this wild heart, without a single star to be found. She's my lighthouse. She's my lighthouse, like a beacon that girl calls me. She's my lighthouse.